and you look clear, and the background is super cool, and you're all artsied up, and it looks great.
I put the purple lipstick on just for you guys.
Yeah, I think Prince just had a birthday, right? And I felt like everyone was wearing purple that day.
That's my
Okay, I
favorite
think
color.
we are set.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. Welcome to my fantastic, amazing, brilliant, wonderful, did I say brilliant? Guest, Genese Clark. Genese is an artist, a published author, and illustrator, and a family coach fueled by possibility and wonder. I could totally attest to that. She believes in taking a strengths approach with everyone to whom she has the opportunity to connect. Genese holds a master's degree from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in child and youth and family studies, focusing on international family studies. She believes that every family, every child, every youth has a unique voice. And by sharing their voice and garnering the necessary supports from compassionate, empathetic, and informed individuals, children and families can overcome any obstacle and create sustainable change in their lives and the lives of others. And I actually believe that too. So thank you, Genese, for all of the work that you're doing. I've been to a couple of your events, and they are really, really, really incredible. My favorite was one that I went to that you were doing at the Peabody, and the Peabody Museum. Yeah, and there were a bunch of stickies that you had, and you had people writing on the stickies. And it was just cool. It was just cool to see, and like parents with their kids, like really, really into it. And I was just so taken. It was just really, really just wonderful. And then like your family was there doing it with other, it was just like, it was just really, really, really wonderful. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. When you first opened up and you said, you know, you're talking all those adjectives, I had no idea you were talking about me. So thank you. I thought you were talking about the series. I'm going to throw it back onto the series.
No, that was you. That was all you. So, so usually, you know, folks come on, I have them sort of either introduce themselves or talk, but I have to tell the folks listening, I have to tell them a quick story. Most of the people that come on, I actually don't know that well. But you, I do know pretty well, reasonably well, let's say that. And so one of the places that you hold for me is there was a time where I was really, really struggling, just like with my own sense of self and like what's next and like what do I do, and I was just really overwhelmed and scared, and I don't remember if we actually planned this conversation or if I just like ran into you at Manhattan, but I remember it was at Manhattan, and we had this most inspirational conversation. And I have to say, you know, it wasn't like immediately, it wasn't like 5 minutes after that, everything was different, but that conversation gave me what I needed to get to the next thing.
Wow.
And from there to get to the thing after that, and then to get to the thing after that, and the thing after that, and the thing after that. And had it not been for that conversation, I might have made very different decisions. But that conversation encouraged me to stop, to take stock of all the wonderful things that had happened in my life, and to really have confidence in my own vision. And I don't think I've ever actually even said this to you. So I'm just so deeply appreciative of that. And here in this public forum, I'm gonna just say thank you so much, because my life is in such a different place than where it was that morning when you and I spoke. So I bow humbly and say thank you for that. And I share that story because I feel like, at least in my experience, that typifies who you are.
Mm,
You're like a spark. You bring this energy and a kind of like determination um, that I just find rare. I don't see that in people often. So so thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And I don't take any credit for it. I'm saying you're welcome because I feel like that's the the courteous thing to say, but I honestly don't take any credit for that. I think when we're fueled by love, when we're
Mm,
motivated by love, I believe God is love. And so when we're motivated by love,
yeah.
great things happen.
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's reciprocal, because
Yeah.
I remember that conversation too. And I remember leaving that conversation super inspired
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
motivated and ready to take on the world.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, that was it was a powerful conversation. It really was. And if you were to ask me to recount like the steps, I no idea. No
Yeah.
idea. But I just remember that like I was in a really low place and I left feeling like, all right, maybe I can push through. Maybe I can do this or that or whatever. And yeah, and it's worked out great. Um so now that we've gotten that out the way, tell me about your art. You do all kinds of stuff. Like you wrote this book, you illustrated the whole book, and we'll pull that up in a second so folks can see it. But I know you also paint.
Mhm.
And I feel like you also write. I feel like I've seen or heard some of your writing. I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like I've heard a poem from you. Maybe you wrote it or
Oh,
not, but okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I write poems and different things. I was writing these kind of 7-word poems at
Yes.
one point, and really it was just a way for me to. I was in a confusing space, and
Mm,
so it was a way for me to move out of that space
yeah.
and articulate on some level what I was feeling and experiencing. Um, and I feel like I'm often in that, not often, but I feel like I cycle back around to these phases of who am I?
Mm, mhm,
you
yeah.
know, what do I have to offer? Because when I leave this world in this form, I want to have made a difference. I
Mhm,
want to have impacted, the people that I'm around and the people that
yeah.
I have the privilege of being around. I take it as a privilege, and the people that I have the opportunity to connect with. Um, so, so yeah.
Well, I can attest personally to the impact you've had on my life. So if it's anything like, and that was like, whatever, an hour. So if it's if your impact on other people is anything like it was on me, your legacy is cemented right now, right now in this moment. So thank you for that. So when you were talking, it I started wondering about like, is this how you typically interact with your art? This like using it as this tool. Um, what I heard was it's like a tool to almost like find yourself. Um, is that
Um,
right? Is that not? And how do you interact with your art?
yeah, I feel like I've often described my art and the things that I create as message pieces,
Mm, okay.
because there's a lot going on in my head. I see a lot of things. I imagine a lot of things visually inside of my head.
Yeah.
And I have dreams and all sorts of things that are very vivid. So a lot of times I want people to see what I'm seeing. And I use my art to communicate that. And I like telling stories. But I don't really like telling stories in a way that's cut and dry. I like them to be kind of parable-esque in a way. You know, and I blame my mother for that, because growing up, she never, anytime I asked for advice, she would never give me advice. She would always give me a quote. I mean, I remember being in college and she would send me Rumi quotes.
Wow.
Who does that? And I love Rumi.
Yeah, your mom does that. Yeah.
So I blame it on her, but that's the way I think, and that's the way I kind of interact with art. And I mean, we can find art all around us.
Yeah. Well, shout out to mom for sure. Yeah, I love that. I love that statement, because I fully agree. I actually think art is everywhere, all the time. Just like magic. I think magic is everywhere all the time. I have recently started this practice of getting up and seeing the sunrise every morning, and I go down by the water and I watch the sun come up, and I do my little qigong and the whole bit, and it struck me one morning. So I have all of these pictures of the sunrise. I have probably like 60 pictures of the sunrise. And I kept thinking, like, every morning is different, even on purely beautiful sunny days, right? No clouds in the sky, nothing has changed in the landscape, except the sun comes up in a different place every morning. So one day it was just like, look at the universe just showing off all the time. The time. It's art. And recently, I don't know if you remember, but last week, there was this solar eclipse that I knew about, but only like I had heard about it, but didn't know like when or what time or where it was going to be visible or whatever. It's just like, oh, it's eclipse. It's like, whatever. And all this stuff, like it's in the house of Aries or what. I don't know any of this stuff. Right. So I'm just making all this up, but this is the stuff that I'm hearing. Right. And I show up to the sunrise, just expecting like a regular sunrise, right? And it's this eclipsed sun. It's like this crescent sun that comes up, like it came up like this. So all you saw the 2 points of the sun, and then it starts tilting and coming up and I was completely blown away and so amazingly inspired by this. So this actually brings me to my next question, which is inspiration. Like, what does that feel like to you? Where is it? Where do you find it? How do you hold it? It's a lot of questions there. Pick whatever you like and talk to me about inspiration.
Where do I find it? Everywhere.
Yeah.
I dedicated my book, Suddenly I Found It, to my children, Kingston, Langston, and Madison. And I said, always look for love in capital L, because it's all around us. Yeah. It's all around us all the time. And those are the things that inspired me. I'm inspired when I look at the birds coming to my bird feeder and looking at how they kind of navigate feeding themselves and throwing some down for the squirrels. I mean, it's literally all around us, the trees, the flowers, everything. And when I say I'm inspired by possibility and wonder, I am. I mean, sometimes I feel like I walk around and I walk down the street like a little kid, just like totally like this is my first time seeing it, but that's the fun of life for me. It's like, it's fun to kind of see something in a new way. It's fun to kind of be kind of re-energized and re-inspired really by the same old, like the sunrise, because it's really not
It's
the
really
same
not.
old,
Yeah, that's right.
you know?
Yeah.
And if you look for something different, you're going to find something different.
Yeah, for sure. If nothing else, right? Because this is also what I tell people too. If nothing else, I'm different.
Exactly.
I'm different. Like something about me has come to this sunrise a day wiser, a few hours smarter, or whatever that is. But yeah, there's always some element of change. So you mentioned your book. I would love to. I'm going to pull it up because I want to. I want folks to see.
Also, I think too, like you said, because I'm different.
Yeah.
That you see something different. I think that is the reason why you see something different. Why we see the same thing in a different way is because we are different, and we are always growing. We're always evolving, whether we realize it or not. We're changing.
It's true.
So
yeah, it's true. It's interesting. I'll say this and then pull the book up. But so I'm a musician. You knew that, and one of the things that I love is like the reinterpretation of a song. So you hear a song, you love it. I'm one of these people that like I can listen to a song on repeat for like 5 days. I'm one of those kind of much to Maza's chagrin. She hates it, but
unless it's Wu-Tang.
This is Wu-Tang, of course. But I remember hearing from a musician I have a lot of respect for, and they said to me, yeah, you never play the same song twice. Not ever. It's almost impossible, because somebody is going to move a note or bend a note or change a this or that, and it might be imperceptible to your ear, but it's different. It's a different song. And that was just striking to me, because I think up to that point, I had always thought of a song as just like a finished thing. Like, it's just like, here's the song, we recorded it, there it is. Like, that's the song. But of course, that's not true. Of course, songs are reinterpreted and reworked and rearranged, and change the lyrics, and all kinds of stuff happens to music as it evolves and changes. And so in that way, and I think broadly about art, it's such a living thing. It's like it's this dynamic, changing thing. Even though what's on the canvas is on the canvas, somehow a year later it's different.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
I do. That totally resonates with me, and I think that's one of the reasons why I ended the book the way I ended it. Where there's there's a continuation, and I also wanted to pass the story to the reader.
Yeah.
So I didn't want it to, although it's my story, and it is quite literally, or it's like a parable of my story.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it to stop there, and I didn't want the reader to read this story and say, "Oh, this is Genese's story." I wanted them to now pick up their string, and follow it. And I think life is cyclical, so I think it's never ending. If we're lucky, it's never ending.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I love that so much. I heard actually, again, Maza say this. I'm not sure where she got it, or maybe she made it up. I don't know. But she said to me, the art is in the doing of the thing. But once it's done, once your picture is painted or your book is written, it goes out into the world. It doesn't belong to you anymore. It's now it belongs to the world. It belongs to all of us. And we can interact with it in all kinds of ways, especially as an artist that probably you couldn't even conceive of in the moment. The sort of ways that people interpret and understand and internalize and integrate pieces of art. Were those all I's? That was pretty good. Interpret,
Integrate,
integrate. Okay, all right.
interact.
Interact.
Yeah,
All right, let's
yeah.
do
I
like,
think that's one of the hardest things for an artist.
yeah.
I think it took me 37 years at least to call myself an artist.
Mm,
And although I had been creating my entire life, I mean, when I think back to my early years,
yeah,
I was taking something apart, recreating something,
yeah.
drawing, painting, trying to manage my own emotions. And that was the tool that I used.
Mm,
Although it took me 37 and everybody, people in my family, people who had saw the art that I had created, they were like, Genese, you're an artist. And I'm like, no, I'm
yeah.
not.
No, I'm not.
And I wonder, as we're talking, I wonder if the moment we become an artist is the moment we give it away. I'm not sure.
Wow. Wow.
But that is the moment that's the moment that I told myself that I was an artist, is when I said, all right, I'm having my coming out party.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had an art showcase.
I remember that. And I don't remember why I couldn't attend it, but I didn't go because I could not go. I was engaged in something and I couldn't be there, but I do remember it. I saw the videos. I saw the art, which was incredible. Incredible. And at that point, I didn't know you as an artist. I knew you as Genese, and you worked in a place, and like we were in this class together, and like that's what I knew of you. And this was just whole other dimension that was really, really just amazing. Oh, did we lose you? Are you still there? Okay, you're still there. All right. You were frozen for a second.
Oh, I'm still
okay. So can I share the book? Can I share? Yeah. All right. Let's do.
Yes, please.
Let's go here and share. All right. All right, good people. So this is the Amazon link here for Suddenly I Found It. This book was written by Genese, and you did the illustration too, right? Like you drew all this and the whole thing, right? You painted and drew. You did the whole thing.
Yeah, written and illustrated. I actually started the book as an illustrator.
Okay.
And finished the book as an author. I thought that I would be drawing the pictures that I saw in my head. Yeah. And my sister would help me write the book. And she, as she always does, I have a twin sister, identical twin sister. She said, nope, niece, this is your story.
This is yours.
She was like, you got it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't got it. I just have this first page. And actually, this I woke up with this image, if you can see it.
Yeah.
That image only. That's the image that I had. I saw a tag in front of this orange, just like you see it, in front of this orange background. And it said, today's the day.
Wow.
And so I ran into my art lab. I had renovated my sun porch and turned it into an art lab for a variety of reasons. Just to kind of have a space where we could create, all of us in my family, we could create and get out what we needed to get out. Yeah. In a non-judgmental place, in space. And I ran down here and I painted it first. I think I painted it, then I drew it, then I scanned it in into my computer, and then I painted it digitally. Yeah. And I said, well, this is what I have. And she said, well, you'll get more. And I did. And I kept writing the words, and I kept seeing the pictures, and I kept drawing the pictures and doing that whole process, a process that I had never done before in my life. I mean, I had drawn, but I had never done any type of digital painting.
Yeah.
And I thought, how in the world am I going to do this? And I just did it. And that's why I feel like, even this, I feel like I can't even take credit for it. My name is on the book, but it felt like such a co-creation with the ultimate creator that it was like a partnership. And all I had to do was show up and do what I could do. And the rest is what happens.
Yeah. Well, what a wonderful and fruitful partnership it is and continues to be. And y'all, I happen to know what Genese's son looked like. And let me tell you, this image could not be more spot on. It really, I was just blown away because I knew you in such a different context. And it seemed to me, from my eyes, it seemed like it was like lightning quick. It was like, I knew you as this person who worked in this place, who did this thing. And then like in 2 weeks, it was like, oh, but by the way, I'm publishing this book and I've got this art show and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I've got what is it? Create your own art. Is that?
Create your own art.
Yeah, we have, this is not even on purpose. This just because this is what it is in our house. Boom.
Yep. That's it.
So this is so I've now got to get my own because Maza has 2 and I don't have 1. I'll take mine in a XXX, please. Thank you.
No problem.
But I wonder if can you just tell me a little bit about, I mean, without giving it away, but like, tell me a little bit about the book, like what's happening here, why, why should families go get it?
Families should go get it because I think that we are called to love. We're called to search for love, and we're called to do what we love.
Yeah.
We're called to be love. I think, and I think when we do what we love, it's an expression of God in my eyes. So, and I think this book talks about that, and it shows you how to get there, shows you how to do it in a kind of metaphoric way. The string in the book represents your heartstring. And so when I do readings at schools with kids and I say, somebody once told me that there's a string tied around your heart. And when you see something that you love, you're pulled in that direction. So follow it, And I think everybody can feel that, those little butterflies, that's something that kind of pulls you a little bit. You should not ignore that. Yeah. And for a long time, I think as we get older and become an adult, we learn to ignore that.
We're taught to ignore it for sure.
And when I talk to kids, all I want to do is just activate their imaginations and like excite them and inspire them to create. So I'm like, you feel something that's pulling you? Go for it. And always look for love. It's going to be a little scary. It's going to be, you're going to go places that you've never imagined you would go, but you'll be better for it in the end. And so I do this visualization at the end. I call them imagination encounters, where I ask kids to think about, to imagine their gift and to feel it, to close their eyes and to feel it, to hold it in their hands. What does it feel like? Is it heavy as a rock? Is it light as a feather? Wow. And then I ask them to give it away, because we're never given a gift that we don't have enough of for ourselves and for someone else. Wow. And oh my goodness, after one reading that I did, with this young person, and she was, well, with the school, there was about 3 different classes, probably about 75 kids. And this first grader, I said, well, what was your gift? She said, my smile. Oh, if that was not enough to lay me out, I don't know what was.
That is so incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God. Young people just have it. They're just like, the magic hasn't like left their body yet. And they're just like incredible teachers, just amazing, like leading the way, deeply wise human beings that we think because, you know, they're 4, that they don't know anything. And yeah. Let me not say we, sometimes me, let me speak from the I. Because you clearly understand the power that is young people. But you said something a little bit earlier that that I'm deeply interested in, and it's this, it's the feeling that you said there's a string tied around your heart. And when you encounter something that you love, you can feel it.
Yeah, your heart is pulled in that direction.
Yeah. And so I'm curious about specifically that feeling. How does it, in your case, like how does it show up for you?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know when you're having that feeling?
Mm-hmm. So, so if I wasn't aware, I would think I was nauseous or like I wanted to throw up.
Okay, yeah.
But now I'm aware that sometimes it shows up like that. Like I get kind of queasy, or it's beyond the point of butterflies.
Okay.
And for me, it's because I know that God has to yell at me sometimes. So the feeling is more intense. I'm learning to respond to the whisper instead of the yell.
Right, gotcha. All right.
So, but it's oftentimes a very kind of physical response that my body is having. Mm-hmm. And now I know that it's an indicator for me to stop, slow down, pay attention to what's happening around me, because something is happening around me. And if I do not slow down and stop, I'm going to miss it.
You're going to miss it, yeah.
And I might walk right past that thing that my string is pulling me towards. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So it's like a butterflies on 100.
Yeah. This reminds me of conversations I've had about intuition. Mm. And I think about intuition. I think one of the things I've tried to do is similar to what you're saying, is like hone my ability to hear the intuition, or just to recognize that it's there. Like I might misinterpret like what it means, but like that first step of just like recognizing, oh, this is like the wisdom in my body trying to tell me something that I'm either not paying attention to, or not, like not just sort of cognizantly aware of, but the body knows, right? Like the body keeps score, like it's like, yeah. Oh no, you're into this. Trust me when I tell you, like you're all the way into this.
Yeah.
So I heard you saying,
oh, go ahead. Sorry. Well, I was going to say another kind of physical indicator for me is that I can't sit still. If something is like really exciting me, I feel like I need to walk around the house. I need to go outside and walk up and down the street. It's so funny because my nephew was doing a couple days ago was doing a, what do you call it? Like he was mimicking me and my sister. Right. And he was like,
impression, like doing an impression.
And he gets up and he starts walking around. And that is me, because if I'm excited about something, I can't sit still.
Yeah. the kids know, man. The babies know. They're watching.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you, you said you're working on trying to pay attention to when it's a whisper versus when you got to get when you got to get yelled at.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering about that process for you. What is that? What's the process of training yourself to hear the whisper?
Yeah, being really intentional about my pace.
Mm,
There's a fine line between pace and rush.
hmm.
And so really teaching myself how to slow down. I've been described as high speed, but I
Okay.
tend to think that I just sometimes think fast.
Hmm. It feels right to
But
me.
but teaching myself how to slow down and really take breaks, intentional breaks,
Yeah.
walk, step outside and just sit. Before, when I talked about suddenly I found it being a parable of my story, before I found that tag where it was like, today's the day,
Yeah.
I had a period of 3 months where I just had to stop. And I would be sitting for hours. I had left my job. My grandmother had just passed away.
Mm,
And over the course of 3 months, I was praying, I was meditating, I was sitting. And that was something new for me, just to
mhm,
sit in my chair for hours and not feel guilty that
yeah.
I was sitting there
Hmm.
meditating and praying,
Yeah.
and like devaluing that time as something less than what it really was. And
Hmm.
for me, it was connecting to God and to myself.
Hmm.
Um, and so I try to do that because I think if we're moving too fast, especially in the Northeast, if we're moving too fast, we're gonna miss it. There's tons of things we can miss. I was just telling someone the other day, how many times have we driven the same route to work or to someplace and we totally miss the building
Hmm.
that's been sitting there for 10 years?
Yeah.
We just totally miss it. And it's because we're moving too fast. We're
Hmm.
either thinking or driving, or we're not really being mindful
Yeah.
about the moment. And so for me, it's about what do I do now? Not what do I have to do next? What do I need to do right now?
I know. Yeah. Mm. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that the pacing, the mindfulness, the intentionality,
Mm-hmm.
too, which is really, these are all like amazingly powerful tools, and clearly, or at least to to my eye from the outside, it seems like you're using them really, really well, and I'm glad
I'm a
to see it
student.
happening. Well, we're all a student. We'll all keep learning, and you can be good at something and still be learning it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's how you're good at something. But
Right.
yeah, it's I like everybody else, there are good days and there are bad days.
Yeah. 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 No, I appreciate that. Um, okay, so I have these questions that I typically ask folks when they come. So I will share them with you. Um, what would
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my earphones just died, so I had to switch to the other speakers. Okay. Um, so if you could go back to, let's say you could go back to 15-year-old Genese.
Oh Lord.
What would you say to 15-year-old Genese right now?
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, Eric. Okay. I would tell 15-year-old Genese, that you're worth it.
Mm.
You got it, girl. Don't take yourself so serious.
Mhm.
And keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving. I mean, you don't know, at 15, 16, I was super depressed.
Yeah.
And I was like, one time my uncle asked me, he said, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really happy, where are you? And I said 6. And I really wanted to say 4.
Yeah.
And you battle with just feeling like you're good enough and feeling worth it. And I'm worth it. And I would tell 15-year-old Genese, girl, please, you got this. You're worth it.
You're worth it. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
thank you, Eric, for making me cry.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I so deeply appreciate that. And I asked that question because I feel like, I feel like we gain so much wisdom, and so much of our own healing comes from parenting ourselves sometimes, and parenting,
Wow.
like dealing with our own inner child and being like, you're all right. Like, it wasn't always smooth, but that's what makes you great.
Right.
Yeah.
You
So
got it.
yeah. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. And then the other question I always ask, this one will be easier, I promise.
Okay.
What did I not ask you that I should have asked you?
Oh. Well, I think everything happens for a reason. So I think what you asked me was what I was supposed to share.
What was supposed to be?
But what didn't you ask me? You didn't ask me, what am I up to now?
Yes. That's my last question always. So there we go. So what are you up to now? What's next?
Well, you mentioned the t-shirt. You held up a t-shirt, create your own art, which is, again, a metaphor. I think we're all art. So, it's create your own art, as in yourself, your family, your career, whatever. Mm-hmm. Create your own art, because it's all art. So I'm planning and trying to design, in the process of designing a new t-shirt line that's inspired by my grandmother, who I never met. She died when my mom was 15 of epilepsy. She had an aneurysm. Wow. But she was deeply committed to to Black people, to humanity, expressing what she called genuine humanness, and eradicating bigotry and racism through love.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I'm working on a t-shirt line that celebrates her and celebrates her legacy, and invites us all to offer something to each other.
I love that. I love that. That's exciting. I can't wait for that. And I'm getting all the t-shirts. And like, honestly, like, independent of this, like, this has been my thing. Like, I've been collecting t-shirts, particularly from like people that I know. If in the world out there, if y'all are listening, if y'all got it, if I know you and you have a t-shirt, call me, because I want it. And yeah, I wasn't kidding about create your own art.
Yeah,
Triple
I got you.
Okay. All right. And I love it exactly as it is. Black. That's been my thing. Black t-shirts. It's just kind of artsy that way.
Yeah. I actually have, when I sell the t-shirts, normally if I'm selling them out in the open, I'll bring Sharpies and have kids or whoever, they'll design the white part of the t-shirt with whatever color they want. So they can color it in with their Sharpie. My son has done a bunch because he's an artist himself.
Yeah. That's great. Oh, this has been so fantastic. It's been so good to talk to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, let's not, I mean, I know there was like a whole pandemic and all of that. I get that, but like, yeah, let's not have it be like another whatever year.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe breakfast at Manhattan's again.
Yeah. Or go for a walk. I like walking.
I like walking
I
too.
know you like walking and talking.
I'm a walker. Yeah, great. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Genese, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being here and taking your time to be here. I'm so excited to see like what's next for you. It's gonna, whatever it is, it's gonna be absolutely incredible. I can't wait for this T-shirt line. You know, uplifting your grandmother and her ideals. I wish you nothing but love and light and goodness and happiness to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. Same to you. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna give it back to you.
yeah, received. Yeah, thank you so much. It's good
It
to
was
see
wonderful, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Very inspirational.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
soon.